The US dollar has reached its highest recorded value in Ukrainian history, 44.7 hryvnias for $1. And because this absolutely crazy exchange rate affects many of the things we buy every day here, today I thought it would be interesting to show you what everyday prices looks like in Kharkiv. What you can buy with $50 at a Ukrainian supermarket, what I pay for utilities, internet, mobile service, how much petrol and public transport costs here, and what you can generally expect to spend while living in Ukraine in 2026. We're going to start with something everyone needs: groceries. Behind my back is a mid-range supermarket called Class. Class means awesome in Russian, so essentially the awesome supermarket. What's interesting about it is that it's purely regional chain that only operates here in Kharkiv. So I'm gonna show you what a local Kharkiv business looks like during the war. And honestly, Class is comparable to a very, very decent European supermarket. It's definitely something I feel good about showing to foreign viewers. We're going to spend $50 here. Let's go. With prices constantly rising in Ukraine, one way to save money is to stick to locally produced food whenever possible. Imported products are more affected by the dollar exchange rate. Supermarkets like Class have a great selection of everyday essentials, and so far the war hasn't really affected food availability. Today we are mostly buying Ukrainian products and looking for a good balance between price and quality. So here are the prices of some standard everyday products in Ukraine. A loaf of plain white bread, 1 liter of milk, 10 medium-sized eggs, 1 kilo of chicken breast, 1 kilogram of pork, 1 kg of imported cheese, and 1 kilo of rice. We're done with our supermarket shopping, and now I'm gonna get some fruit and veggies at a local open-air market. It's a very good idea to buy locally grown fruit and veggies when they are in season, because they are much cheaper and also a million times tastier. And local supermarkets in Ukraine just can't compete with open-air markets when it comes to fresh and affordable fruit and veggies. And voila, friends! Here we are with the groceries. It all cost me $40 at the current exchange rate. I said we would spend 50, but we ended up spending just 40. And this all can barely fit my table. For anyone watching from Western Europe or North America, prices in Ukraine will still seem quite affordable. But there is a very important factor to keep in mind: local salaries and pensions. For Ukrainian pensioners, these prices aren't cheap at all. They are a disaster. It's basically a matter of survival. I looked up, and the average pension in Ukraine now is about $163 a month. I asked my mom, who is a pensioner, and her state pension is $170. So you work your whole life, you retire, and then you're supposed to survive on $170. So this is what you have to keep in mind. I worked for Ukrainian Railways. It's a state company in Ukraine. I was an engineer, and 10 years my salary was $400 a month. I still have friends, some former colleagues from there. It looks like the salaries dropped because of this crazy exchange rate. So people can make like $350 a month. It is just to give you some idea. But I would say, like, personally for me, it's not my dream salary at all. But if I have $700 every month and I already own an apartment here, my level of stress in Ukraine, financial stress, is pretty low. So life here is manageable for me if I have only $700 a month. But for a lot of people, it is a pretty big money, and especially for pensioners. So keep this in mind, friends. And now, just real quick, I'll show you what we've got. A loaf of bread, herbal tea, chicken breast, apple juice. The quality is exceptional, I would say. This is the best apple juice in Ukraine, in my opinion, from the historical region of Galicia. Then German cheese, a bar of chocolate, Ukrainian. This sausage is now called Kiev sausage, but it was de-Russified because it used to have a different name. Yes, no joke, even sausages went through de-Russification process in Ukraine. This pasta is Italian, also really nice pasta. 10 eggs, cottage cheese dessert covered in chocolate, nuts, tomatoes, greens, melon. These peaches are from the city of Odessa and they are only $1 per kilo. And a bottle of kefir. We're not really into yogurt here, so we drink this fermented drink, which is called kefir. And this is cucumbers from Kharkiv, from a local babushka, 90 cents for kilo. And I guess that's it. One more thing you might be interested in is fuel prices, which have skyrocketed over the past 4 years. I'll put a photo that I took at a petrol station today on the screen because I didn't want to stand there filming. It's not exactly a good idea under the circumstances. And the most common petrol here is A95. We also have A92 as well as diesel and auto gas. And here are prices for each by 1 liter in the US dollars. Unlike the US, we pay by the liter, not by the gallon. And the fuel here is imported. This raw material, raw oil, can come from Saudi Arabia, Kazakhstan, the US. I don't drive a car, so I don't really need petrol. For me, public transport is the way to go. So, how much does public transport cost here? One ride on any form of public transportation, bus, trolley, bus, tram or metro, will cost you absolutely nothing. Kharkiv public transport has been free since the beginning of the war because it's a frontline city, and this is one of the ways the city tries to help its residents. For comparison, in Kiev, one ride will cost you around 67 cents. And generally speaking, Kharkiv is a cheaper city to live in than Kiev or Lviv. A small fast food meal in Kharkiv costs me about $5.50 today. I ordered a burger and a milkshake, and this was actually one of the cheapest options. This is my first time at KFC in Kharkiv. Usually I don't eat this kind of food, you know. This place is more for youth, older generation like myself. We prefer something more traditional. And fun fact is that McDonald's actually left Kharkiv, but KFC is still here. But if your standards are a little higher and you want to grab a bite in a nice cafe with a pleasant atmosphere in the city center, a small cappuccino and a brownie will cost you almost exactly the same, $5.50 plus a tip. And while eating out can be tempting because you don't have to spend time cooking, most people here cook at home. It's not only healthier, but it can also save you quite a bit of money. Another thing that makes a big difference to the cost of living here is that most Ukrainians own their homes. Around 80 to 85% of people in Kharkiv, as in Ukraine generally, live in their own apartments or houses, and I am not an exception. I don't pay rent, but I do pay for utilities. So let's break everything down. The amount changes quite a lot depending on a month. In a winter month, when I'm paying for heating, my total utilities come to around $95 a month. And for example, last month in July, when I didn't pay for heating, I paid just $42. Heating costs me around $55 a month on average during the heating season, and as you might know, friends, heating here works 24/7 when it works. Last winter it didn't work as it should. And for electricity, I pay around $12 a month on average. The rest of my utilities charges are rubbish collection, water, gas, maybe something else. And then there are internet and mobile service. My home internet is unlimited and I pay $8 a month with our local provider Trialan. My mobile plan cost me $6 a month and I have unlimited calls within Vodafone network plus 25 gigabytes of mobile data. To be honest, it's more than enough for me. I never really go over this limit. So this is what we pay for utilities, mobile service and internet. Sometimes we don't want to take public transport. Maybe we're tired, carrying heavy bags, whatever. And that's when a taxi comes in handy. Yesterday I was riding from the city center to my neighborhood, which is 14 kilometers away, and my taxi ride cost me $5. I usually order taxis here through the application called Uklon. We do have this famous Uber, but I prefer Uklon in Kharkiv. So friends, that was a little look at what it costs to live here in Kharkiv in 2026. Of course, we are not happy about devaluation of the Ukrainian currency, and a price that might look cheap for someone from the West can be actually quite expensive for someone earning a Ukrainian salary. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you would like to support more videos like this, you might consider buying me a coffee or becoming my Patreon sponsor. Until next time.